Hello everyone, welcome to the topic of quadratic equations, and we will be looking into one subtopic, which is the null factor law. In the earlier video you would have seen an equation of x squared equals to k. We sometimes might get that particular equation in that form, and sometimes we might not get it in that particular form of x squared equals to k. So if we are going to solve other sorts of equations, we will have to apply one of the laws in a factorized form, which is called the null factor law. Okay, the equation has to be in the factorized form, and for that you'll be able to use the null factor law. But before we go on, we have to ask ourselves, what is the null factor law? Let's just say if I have a product of a times b equals to 0 here. What we are trying to say, if we have a product of two terms here, one of the terms, one of the variables will have to be a 0. So a can either be 0 or b can either be 0. Because if we take 5 multiplied by 0, right, one of them has to be a 0 in order to get your product as 0. Okay, so we're going to look into 3 examples to show you what we can do using the null factor law. Okay, so we would have seen a similar expression when you factorize a particular equation. Now, the difference between the factorization and also the null factor law is the null factor law will definitely give you an equation equivalent to 0, whereas the factorized equation will only give you just this part. Okay, so if we are given an equation like this, we know that yes, we have to use the null factor law. So having said that, 2x is equivalent to 0, or x plus 3 is equivalent to 0. So x here is to 0, and x of course would be minus 3. Okay, so all we need to do is to get rid of the 2, we just divide by 2. To get rid of plus 3 on the left hand side, bring it over to the right hand side, and it becomes minus 3. So 0 take away 3 would be minus 3. Okay, so those are your answers. So therefore x would be 0 or minus 3. Okay, that is part A. Now moving on into part B. Okay, if you have 2 multiplied by x minus 3, and of course this x minus 3 has an expression where you square it, but all you need to do is that you need to get rid of the 2 on the other side, so it will become x minus 3 squared equals to 0. Because if we divide this by 2, 0 divided by 2 will definitely give you 0. Okay, and we have seen the square form from the previous lesson, and in order to get rid of the square, we have to apply the square root. In this case of a square root of 0, no matter what number, you will still get a 0 for it. So you're left with x minus 3, and therefore x will be equivalent to 3. The final example that we have here would be minus 6 multiplied by x minus 5, and also multiplied by 3x plus 2. In order to solve this, we will do the usual, like what we have done in part B. When we see a minus 6 over here, and we want to divide the entire expression by minus 6, so when we move it to the other side, 0 divided by minus 6 will still give you a 0, and you're left with x minus 5 and also 3x plus 2. Alright, so in this case here, we can say x minus 5 is equivalent to 0, or 3x plus 2 is equivalent to 0. And in this case, we can solve that x is 5, because we are going to bring the minus 5 from the left hand side to the right hand side, and it becomes a positive number. 3x plus 2 is the 0, so 3x would be plus 2 when we bring it over as minus 2, and we want to get rid of the 3 to allow our x as the subject, and it will become minus 2 out of 3. Okay, if you need any help, you can definitely come and see me, and we will have a further discussion about this chapter. Alright, thank you very much.